All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So obviously the New York Jets made headlines today, bringing in Mike Williams on a one-year contract worth only up to $15 million. That is a really, really good deal. But I think, when we start looking at, of course, the other teams in the AFC, right? The Jets' direct competition, the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Steelers, the Browns, the Bills, the Dolphins, all these different teams. I think it's fair for Jets fans to say we want more, right? We need more. We're not a complete team. We still have some holes on the roster. What's next? What is the next move that Joe Douglas is going to make? Is that going to be a free agent? Is that going to be a potential trade? Is it going to be a draft pick? I would love to hear your thoughts, your kind of main ideas at this point in time. Of course, coming off of the Mike Williams signing, but we still have, objectively speaking here, a handful of needs, maybe not as big as wide receiver 2 and left tackle, but still needs nonetheless. I think the first thing that we got to talk about here is offensive line depth. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be, negative, right? Especially on a day like today where we signed Mike Williams. But if Tyron Smith were to go down, we're right back to square one. If Morgan Moses were to go down, we're now talking about Max Mitchell, Carter Warren, what's happening there. We need to round out the offensive line. Like, I've seen a couple comments, by, national sports media, personalities saying that the Jets offensive line is complete. In my opinion, it's not. We need to round out and add depth to the team. So, in a perfect world, you want to add, as much talent as possible for as little money as possible. But, realistically speaking, the Jets can still go out and make moves that I would consider upgrades, especially over what we had last season. But look, if David Bakhtiari wants to jump aboard, right, and be that go-to backup left tackle in the event of Tyron Smith getting hurt. Unfortunately, Tyron Smith has missed some time due to injury. Same with Bakhtiari. We don't really know exactly what we're going to be getting with him. But in the event that he wants to come to the Jets for a cheap contract, I am 100% on board for that. 100%. If Joe Douglas wants to add a swing tackle, right, Josh Jones, former Houston Texan and Arizona Cardinals, I'd be game for that as well. I do feel like it's important that we continue to build this offensive line. I don't want to see the Jets in the same exact situation that they were a year ago, where we're looking at premium positions and great, we're really top heavy, but if something happens to those premium positions, we're screwed. Right, we have an opportunity to, alleviate that stress. We can alleviate that by continuing to make moves here on the offensive line. Another, I would say, underrated need is the veteran running back position. Now, a bunch of guys have already signed, right? Joe Mixon is off the board, AJ Dillon is off the board, but there's still some pretty popular names out there, right? J.K. Dobbins, obviously coming off an injury from Baltimore, but we got Kareem Hunt, we have Cordell Patterson, Zeke Elliott, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. We have options. Damian Harris from Buffalo, I feel like might be a bit underrated. Cam Akers, he's only 24 years old. Running back, I still feel is a pretty big need, right? And again, it is kind of flying under the radar in my opinion, because if you look at the room, we have Breece Hall, great, and then Izzy behind him, and I love Izzy, but it's a lot of pressure to put on a running back in year 2. We don't have the veteran presence there, so injuries aside, I would like the Jets to carry at least 3 running backs on game day. And of course, you can maybe make an argument, well, we can just draft one, right? One in the 4th or one in the 5th or something, which is a fair point. Cheap running back with, a lot of tread on the tires. But I really want a veteran presence back there. Ideally, somebody that provides a different skill set to Breece Hall that we can bring in on different packages and whatnot. I also think safety. This is, a position where it's just so saturated in the free agent market right now. And this is after a bunch of guys have already signed. But Justin Simmons, Eddie Jackson, Micah Hyde, Quandre Diggs, Tracy Walker, Marcus May. I don't think Jamal Adams is the best fit, but, just another safety out there. Who else? Curse from Dallas. There's a lot of talented safeties that are on the open market that I feel like would come in and benefit this Jets team. Now, Chuck Clark got brought back. Awesome. We have Tony Adams. I think that's probably going to be the starting 2. So I don't really, I don't want to write anything off, right? I don't want to close the book on anything, but I do feel like Ashton Davis will be brought back as that third depth safety. So I'm not super concerned over the position right now. I think offensive line depth and running back come before safety. And then last but not least, slot receiver, right? Slot receiver, in my opinion, is still a need, that wide receiver 3. Now, do the Jets want to turn the football over to Xavier Gibson, right, in his second year? Do they want to maybe make a push and sign Tyler Boyd? But I do feel like it's still a position that ideally, again, in a perfect world, I would just want at least one more body there. One more body. Again, we can kind of play the hypothetical injury game with wide receiver as well. If something were to happen to Mike Williams, you know, we're back to square one where it's Garrett Wilson and, you know, Lazard. Like, I just don't really know if that's like a favorable position. Now, of course, this is before the draft, but still, we need to ask the question, what's next? What is to come for Joe Douglas and the New York Jets here? I would love to hear your plan of attack down below in the comment section. Can't wait to dive in. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts, and as always, go Jets.